Hi, my name is Candy Whitfield. I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue about a year and a half before taking the workshop. But it was probably about 3 years that I had the condition and slowly declined up until that point. Also, about 6 months before taking the workshop, I developed multiple chemical sensitivities, which was getting progressively worse. One of my worst days would be waking up in the morning and being so achy and so tired that I literally could not move. And it would take me anywhere from 20 minutes to 40 minutes to cheerlead myself enough to physically get out of bed. And on those days, I wasn't able to take my son to school. So either I would have to find somebody to drive him to school, or he would end up having to stay home with me. And I would be lucky if I was able to get him and myself a bowl of cereal before having to go back to bed. And I would be in bed all day and sleep as long as I could possibly sleep. So basically, my life as I knew it was shut down. I had no outside extracurricular activities. I couldn't do work. I could barely look after myself, let alone my child. And so my life just became about survival, about doing the very basics, making sure that, we had food and the house was somewhat clean, and that was about it. And the multiple chemical sensitivities, um, I had to be very careful about where I went and who I was around. I would often, if I ran into somebody wearing perfume, even in passing, I would instantly develop a really, really bad headache, and I would have to physically remove myself and often go lie down for a couple of hours before it would pass to the point where I was functioning again. Things like walking the dog and people using fabric softener in their laundry would be enough to induce a headache and nausea, and I would have to instantly remove myself. So that also limited me in what I was able to do and where I was able to go and who I was able to be around. It was really, really hard emotionally, this whole experience. I lost so much faith in life, in how I was going to move forward. Um, my brain was so foggy and unclear that it was even difficult for me at times to process what was really going on, and hard some days not to be in tears all day, not knowing, whether tomorrow was going to be better or worse. And I mean, how could it possibly get any worse? There were times when I thought that I was literally dying and I didn't know what to do and I didn't have any help. I heard about the dynamic neural retraining system through a friend of mine. She was surfing the web one day and came across Annie Hopper's website, and had sent me an email and said, hey, you should check this out. I think this might be something that you would be interested in doing. So yeah, I jumped online and had a look at the website and a look at some of the testimonials. And at first it seemed almost too good to be true, reading some of the results that people were getting. But I was at the point where I tried a ton of different, basically anything that I could come across in terms of alternative therapy and alternative medicine, and spent thousands of dollars and literally had no lasting results or effects from them in a positive direction. And so so I thought, let's give this a try and see what happens. I certainly couldn't lose anything. There's nothing to lose. I couldn't be worse off than I am now. And if it's half as good as what the people on the website were saying, I thought it would make a huge difference in my life. I first noticed the shift on the first day of the workshop, right at the end of the day when I went to leave. I noticed that I had more energy, and that was really surprising to me, given that I had been in the workshop all day, and I wasn't sure before I went to the workshop if I was going to make it for a whole day, let alone have energy at the end of the day. Then the next moment that I noticed a difference would have been the next morning when I got up. I had practiced diligently that night because I'd already started seeing results, and when I woke up in the morning, it was much easier to get out of bed than it had been the day before. I wasn't aching as much, I had more energy, I was feeling lighter, and so I really noticed a big difference in my energy there and my clarity of thought as well. My brain was functioning better, it was easier to focus, easier to remember, and thinking a lot more clearly. With the multiple chemical sensitivities, I noticed, the first time I noticed a result or a shift was The second day in the afternoon, a peer in the workshop and I had gone for a walk during our lunch break, and we'd walked past a lady who was clearly wearing perfume. And I remember smelling the perfume and waiting for the nausea and the headache to hit, and it didn't. And I was really surprised by that. And I didn't enjoy the scent of the perfume. It still didn't smell nice to me, but my body did not react in the same way as it had prior to starting the workshop. And by the end of the 3 days, the multiple chemical sensitivity was completely gone and remains gone to this day. I noticed that when I had multiple chemical sensitivities, that I could taste the chemicals in the things that I smelled in the air. So if I was walking, say, around the block and I walked past a house that was doing laundry, I could taste the chemicals in the fabric softener, or I could taste the perfume on a person walking by or sitting across on another table from me. And when, by the end of the workshop, at the end of those 3 days, when I smelled chemicals, I didn't have that taste anymore. It didn't affect me in the same way, and it wasn't a pungent smell anymore. But clearly my sense of smell was still working, and I could smell a range of things, and yet the noxious quality was not there. You know, if I look at the last 3 months and where I've come from when I started the workshop, there's been a significant improvement. Like I said before, the multiple chemical sensitivity is completely gone. My energy continues to improve. I'm able to go to the gym every day. I'm able to take care of the basics around the house and look after my son without any difficulty. I don't have to nap every day. My brain is definitely working better. I'm much more organized, much more functioning like I was before I got chronic fatigue syndrome. And I'm looking forward in the next few months to returning to work, which before this workshop I didn't even think was going to be possible. So huge improvements, huge results. So if I had to give a percentage of my recovery, I would say that I've recovered from multiple chemical sensitivities 100%. I've recovered from pain 100%. My brain clarity has recovered 90%, and my energy probably 70 to 75%. I don't need to take breaks after I do any physical activity. I can exert myself and not feel exhausted, and it's easier to get out of bed in the morning, and I'm sleeping less amount every day, less naps. Yeah, I would say at least 70 to 75%, and continues to improve. The dynamic neural retraining system has given me the opportunity to engage with life again. I was really at a position where it didn't even feel like living. I mean, I was in bed all day, barely surviving in a very much a survival mode without a lot of excitement in my life or hope even in my life. And this program has really given me the opportunity to get back out there and engage with life. I can do the activities I want to do. I can be there for my son and play with him, and go out and socialize with people in the evenings without being exhausted and having to go back to bed or worrying about if someone's wearing perfume or not. So it's really given me that opportunity to get my life back and to be excited about what the future might hold. To others who are suffering, I would say absolutely without question, give this a chance, give it a try, go in with an open mind, and you will be amazed with what you can accomplish, that you don't have to struggle. And it's, you know, when I first heard about the program, it sounded too good to be true, almost like a fairy tale, but really, that's exactly what it is. It is a fairy tale, and where dreams do come true, and it's amazing. So I would definitely, without a doubt, recommend it to anyone, and I have already recommended it to several